Sr. here to offer remarks about the importance of Victims of Communism Memorial Day. Gary is the son of Francis Gary Powers Sr., CIA U-2 pilot who was shot down in the midst of the Cold War while flying in Soviet airspace. Gary is the author of Enemy Territory, Spy Pilot, and Letters from a Soviet Prison. He's the founder and chairman emeritus of the Cold War Museum located at Bent Hill, Virginia, and was the chairman of the Presidential Advisory Committee for the Cold War Theme Study, which assisted the National Park Service to identify historic Cold War sites for preservation. So thank you, Gary, for being with us today.
Thank you very much for the warm welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, ambassadors, elected officials, esteemed guests, and fellow advocates of historical preservation and education, especially all the trustees and the board members, as well as the staff members of the Victims of Communism Memorial Foundation. Thank you for gathering here today as we talk about a topic of utmost significance, the importance of educating future generations about the devastations caused by communism. We stand at a crucial juncture in history where the lessons we impart to the upcoming generations will shape their understanding of the world's complexities and the ideals that underpin our democratic societies. The 20th century bore witness to unprecedented upheavals under communist rule by such figures as Joseph Stalin, Mao Zedong, and Walter Ulbricht. They stand as a stark reminder of the potential consequences of ideological extremism, the human toll, the erosions of freedom, and the economic inefficiencies wrought by communist regimes are scars etched into our collective histories. During the Cold War era, it is estimated that tens of millions of people perished under communist regimes. These statistics represent not just numbers, but individual lives filled with dreams and aspirations that were cut short by the oppressive machinery of communism. It is our moral duty to ensure that these lessons are not forgotten. Otherwise, we risk repeating the mistakes of the past. Communism, often characterized as by authoritarian rule, silencing of dissent, and planned economies, led to unimaginable horrors during this period. Citizens lived under constant surveillance, with their thoughts and expressions controlled by the state. The devastating consequences of communism include famines, forced labor camps, and mass executions, leaving countless families shattered and communities starved. For example, Joseph Stalin, the leader of the Soviet Union from the mid-20s to his death in 1953, is a chilling example of the horrors of communism. Under his rule, the Great Purge, better known as the Great Terror, took place. Stalin's regime systematically eliminated perceived enemies of the state through mass executions, forced labor camps, and show trials. The scale of the suffering was immense, with millions of Soviet citizens falling victim to this ruthless campaign. The forced creation of collective farms under Stalin's rule also led to the Ukrainian Holodomor famine in 1932 to 1933. This was one of the most devastating man-made famines in history. Millions of Ukrainians perished due to the deliberate policies of the Soviet government. They confiscated the grain and the food from the Ukrainian peasants, leaving them to starve. Another horrifying aspect of communism is the Gulag system. Countless individuals, including political dissidents, intellectuals, and ordinary citizens, were sent to these camps under often arbitrary charges. These camps were notorious for their inhumane conditions, where prisoners were subjected to grueling labor, starvation, and brutal treatment. The stories of those who suffered in the gulags remind us of the horrors of state-sponsored repression. The Soviet Union is but one example. Let us not forget the Great Chinese Famine, which resulted from the policies of the Great Leap Forward under Mao Zedong. His rule between 1959 and 1961 is when this famine happened. It is estimated that 15 to 45 million people perished due to the combination of factors, including forced collective farms and misguided economic policies. Families were torn apart, and individuals faced severe hunger and deprivation. And what about the construction of the Berlin Wall in 1961, when Walter Ulbricht was head of the state for East Germany? The wall serves as one of the most visible symbols of the divisions caused by communism. Erected by the German Democratic Republic, which was under Soviet influence, the wall was a physical manifestation of the Iron Curtain that separated East and West Berlin. Families were torn apart, and its citizens were denied their basic freedoms. They were trapped behind concrete and barbed wire. The Berlin Wall stands as a stark reminder of the lengths to which communist regimes will go to maintain control and suppress dissent. The East German government, with the support of the Soviet Union, implemented strict border controls and security measures to prevent the citizens from escaping to the West. This included guard towers, barbed wire, minefields, shoot-to-kill orders for border guards, all collectively known as the death strip between East and West Berlin. While exact figures vary, it is estimated that at least 140 people were killed attempting to cross the Berlin Wall between 1961 and 1989. However, this number does not account for those who died in other escape attempts along the broader East German, West German border. The total number of fatalities related to escape attempts from East Germany during the Cold War is likely higher. It's important to note that the Berlin Wall and the border between East and West Germany were some of the most heavily fortified and dangerous areas during the Cold War. Many individuals risked their lives in desperate attempts to seek freedom to the West. In this noble pursuit to preserve history, institutions like the Cold War Museum and the Victims of Communism Memorial Foundation, they shine as beacons of remembrance and enlightenment. The Cold War Museum stands as a testament to the struggles and sacrifices of Cold War veterans who valiantly defended our democratic values. It provides a tangible connection to history, offering visitors a first-hand glimpse into the challenges and triumphs of that era. The veterans' stories must be passed down to future generations in order to serve as a reminder that freedom is not to be taken for granted. Crucial is the work undertaken by the Victims of Communism Memorial Foundation. By establishing monuments and educational programs, the foundation honors the memories of those who suffered under oppressive regimes. Through their initiatives, the foundation imparts the profound lessons of history and promotes a more informed and discerning citizenry. By understanding the consequences of communism and the staggering loss of life during the Cold War, we empower future leaders to make informed decisions that safeguard our democratic values and principles. Educating students about the horrors of communism is a vital endeavor. The classroom is where young minds are shaped and where critical thinking is nurtured. By integrating the historical narrative of communism and the Cold War and its victims, we equip students with the tools to analyze complex situations, distinguish fact from ideology, and appreciate the significance of freedom. However, this task is not without challenges. It requires the commitments from everyone in this room, the ambassadors, the elected officials, educators, policymakers, as well as civil society as a whole, to overcome potential biases that manifest through the excessive political extremism. This is necessary in order to present a balanced perspective. It also demands that we foster an environment where open dialogue is encouraged and the differing viewpoints are respected. This will foster a generation capable of navigating the nuances of our world. In closing, Let us remember that the torch of remembrance and education must be passed from one generation to the next. The lessons of history, from the horrors of communism and the tremendous loss of life it caused during the 20th century, to the importance of free discourse, are not isolated relics. They are living truths that shape our present and our future. As we salute the efforts of the Victims of Communism Memorial Foundation, let us also pledge to do our part in preserving the lessons of the past, honoring the sacrifices of those who came before us, and paving the way for a brighter, freer world. Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here today, and I appreciate all the efforts you are doing to make sure that history does not be forgotten. Thank you.
Okay.